he is one of the
Thanks,
biggest names in rock music, and after an incredible 40 years on stage, KISS frontman Paul Stanley has finally penned an autobiography called Face the Music, A Life Exposed.
And there's been such an amazing response to the book that it shot to #2 on the New York Times bestseller list.
The book appeals to people way outside of what you might expect from a musical autobiography. I wanted to write a book that was inspirational and also perhaps gave people some sense of self-empowerment. Although I had great success, I was born deaf on one side and without an ear on my right side. And the scrutiny and the ridicule, constant scrutinization by people was very difficult. And my home life wasn't that great. But at some point, you either decide you're going to put a shotgun in your mouth, a needle in your arm, or roll up your sleeves.
You really had nowhere to turn to, and then there's music.
Music was always my passion, and I believed that becoming successful would solve all my problems. All of a sudden, life would be great. I would have no more issues, no more self-doubts. You can hide your secrets from other people. You never hide them from yourself. So, lo and behold, I become famous, worldwide recognition, but it didn't change anything. Suddenly I realized that I really needed to dig in and do some painful exploration to figure out what it would take for me to be happy. And ultimately, what makes us most happy in life is giving to other people. You get the most out of life when you give the most.
Let's talk about you and Gene. You know, how have you kept that relationship going for all this time?
I think the key ultimately to a great partnership is knowing its limitations. If you never expect something from somebody that they can't give you, you won't be disappointed.
That's like Gene with your wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't invite Gene to my wedding. Now I'm close enough to Gene that I could explain to him that at that point, his point of view is certainly his own. But when you insult people who get married and insult the institution, you certainly have no place at my wedding. I don't care how close I am to you.
He's not going to be your best man, is he?
No, he wasn't my best man, but he was certainly rooting for me, and he was in my corner.
Yeah.
But he didn't belong at the wedding.
You know, I saw one of your concerts here in Australia. I'm thinking 2001, 2002. It was a farewell tour at the time, but you guys keep coming back.
What turned out to be the farewell tour was only called the farewell tour because bluntly, Peter and Ace were making it so difficult and so miserable to be out there that I felt like throwing in the towel. And it wasn't until I got home and I thought, wait a minute, I don't want to stop this. I'm blessed. I want to continue this. And all of a sudden I realized, you know what? This is my life. This is my passion. And I'm not going to let two people sabotage it when there are people who can come in and do that job honestly and with integrity.
You came through a very, great period of rock and roll, and there are a lot of casualties on the road along the way, and you're very open about, being very drug and alcohol free and what that means.
When people try to emulate their idols, they should choose wisely because for the one or two who are still alive, you can't interview Jimi Hendrix, you can't interview John Belushi, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain. It's a path to destruction.
Look, I got to say to you, one of my earliest memories is having a birthday party. My first birthday party with Kiss from School came around. We had the TV on in the afternoon, and all the girls stopped when you guys came on and screamed. And I went, I want to do that. I want to know, when you were young and with everything that was going on in your childhood, what was it that made you go, that's what's going to take me there?
I had one of those moments, too, when I saw the Beatles. I couldn't play the guitar. I was a little shy, overweight, unhappy kid, and yet I saw it and I went, I can do that. We all have our own way of touching that nerve and saying, I can't be that, but I can do what they're doing. So that was an epiphany for me, and it never left me.
Well, you share the joy in this book. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for this, being so honest about this story, that with everything that happened in your life, you gave rock and roll to us all. Paul, thank you so much for your time this morning.
So much my pleasure.